Hey Space Boys and Girls, so in today's video I wanted to talk about key steps of how to become the real you. Now I guess that a lot of people are sitting here asking, how do I become the real me? How do I know that I want to turn into the me that I want to be? Well, if you watched my last video, How to Live Unbothered, I always liked to quote, well, one of the quotes that I used in that video was by seeing if you were you, but in the future and looking back on something you're doing now, what would future you be doing, or what's an impact that they would strongly have for you to change off of that path? Because every day that I think about future me and what I'm going to be doing, or what like career paths or what just paths of life that I'm going to be taking, I always have to think about the future, you know? So I hope that is a little warmer up to start us off on this video, and let's get into the tips. So for tip number 1, I'm going to have to go with a quote from HINDZ, who is a YouTuber, but a bigger YouTuber than I am, who talks about change and positivity and motivation. I was recently very inspired by him because he gave this message that was really powerful about bamboo growth. Bamboo growth is when your growth is so micro that it goes unnoticed until it finally all works out. Just like how you can't see a tree grow, you can still see your progress little by little after it all comes together. And I like knowing that whenever I get down or I feel like I'm not right about doing something, that I can think about my bamboo growth and how small I am growing, but how my small growth is all going to make a big change. And that's how I know that I'm becoming one step closer to being able to find myself and being happier and healthier in whatever ways that I want to. Tip number 2, I have get out of that rock in a hard place. So what I like to call a rock in a hard place is whenever you just simply feel stuck. Like I was talking about earlier with bamboo growth, often you can feel stuck for a long time, especially judging where everybody else is in life, what everybody else is doing, but you don't take time to realize that, you feel this gunk and you feel stuck because you're judging what everybody else is doing at your age, what everybody else looks like, how many likes or follows or whatever that they're getting, and it's keeping you stuck. You don't need to dignify or solidify your worth based on what other people have going on or what expectations or things that people put on you, because that's simply not the path you want to put yourself on. So to get out of that rock in a hard place, I often say make sure that you're trying to live as stress-free as possible. Of course, you're going to have priorities that you have to get done, things that you set in the way so that you don't get too lazy, but know when to take a break. Like every quote that I've ever heard ever, all work and no play makes a not fun day. I'm just going to say it like that because I truly don't remember what the last part of that quote says, but I take it literal because I get really stressed out very easily, and I think that I have to remember solely that I can't just be go, 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 go all the time. That I have to stop and take a breath and realize that I don't have to push myself so hard, but when I do need that extra push, I have to make sure I prioritize what's right in my life. Alright guys, so for that third step I have accept not knowing how and when. For example, you never know how you're gonna get rich. You never know when it's gonna happen. You never know when one day you'll go from being an average person who's making music to the next number one Billboard artist. You never know when one day you're really passionate about skateboarding and then you're the next Tony Hawk. You never know when you're going to be able to put yourself out in the spotlight until you take a chance. And even if it takes a billion chances, why are you just sitting around waiting and saying, oh yeah, one day will be my time? Like, even though you don't know how and when anything's going to happen or any events that are going to happen in your life other than the planned events and planned things you have set in stone, you have to make it your own reality. And even though you don't know when something's going to happen, make sure it's still close in your grasp and something that you can make happen even when you're not going to know how and when it's going to happen. All right, and so for step number 4, I have more power can be in not knowing. Yes, of course, knowledge is power, and it's very powerful. I stand by that as a statement because I love reading, I love writing, anything that I can get my hands on to get more knowledge. I'm here for it, and I'm always watching inspirational videos and all these things. But at the same time, whenever I first glance at something, especially having no prior knowledge to it, for example, when I got into college and I was an animation major, going into things not knowing or with the little expectations I did have made me really feel like I stood out more because I wasn't just following the fundamentals that everybody else was following. I was following my own path, and in the path of not knowing, I was going in blindly, doing whatever I wanted, not following the rules in a sort of sense, which made my art stand out to me more than other people's. But of course, I'm always going to favor myself, so. But yeah, the power of not knowing a lot of times, especially with things that you can go into blindly in life and not have to feel so strict and superficial on yourself, can be more power to you. So I'm going to just let that resonate with you, number 4, so you can just think about that for a minute. Because I think knowledge is power, but also the knowledge of not knowing can also be used at your advantage. And feel how you want about that. Space boys and girls, I hope you had enough time to think about that and let it resonate with you for a bit. So now at step number 5, we have thinking and finding time for feedback. I use number 5 as a good example with a lot in my life. For instance, if I ever have any life problems, I'm instantly asking my mom or my dad. If I have any art questions, I have an array of art friends, or just like friends in general, who can give me pretty good advice on how to handle situations that I feel like just go over my head. There's also some times where I'll get very mad very easily, and I've had to learn how to step away and recollect my breath. And then I'll even have friends often tell me, well, you kind of did this when you were angry. Or my mom will be like, well, you kind of like did this when you got mad at me. And so like I have to realize how to rest and like be at peace with myself before I come back into a situation still overheated and angry. So I have to take time to process that thinking and finding time for time and feedback. And I feel like that's really good advice to relay to any sort of question that you have in life, or sort of anger or feeling that you don't want and is unwanted. You need to find time for, people to help you out. Or if you don't want help, You have to know how to take time to yourself to recuperate before you have to step back into that said situation or step back into just what life is throwing at you at the moment. So, at number 6, I have align your body, mind, and spirit. I put number 6 down because often when I'm physically not feeling good, like how in my last video I told you guys about my really, really bad sinus allergy and how it makes me feel, I often don't feel right unless my body, mind, and spirit are aligned all together. I often tell people about, the 7 chakras. If you don't know what that is, please look it up at your own free will, or I'll make a video about it or something. But make sure you're aligning your mind, spirit, and body because they are essentially who you are. And even though sometimes we get so busy and so caught up with the rest of the world, we often forget about who we are, and not only our body, but our soul and also our mind. Mental health, physical health, and even you know, physically who you are, like your genetic compounds, are what you should be taking care of at all times. Because if you don't take care of that, then there wouldn't be you here. Just like how you eat, you go to sleep, and you take care of the essentials. Think of your body as a temple, and think of if your temple's out of whack, then you're gonna be out of whack. So take care of yourself and stop for as little or as much self-care as you need during the time. Because self-care is very important, and I've had to learn that the hard way. All right, everybody, so this is the second to last tip. Embody empowerment. When I say embody empowerment, I mean, who are the figures that you look up to? Why do you look up to them? I've done an activity recently where I've had to write about 5 people, dead or alive, and why I look up to them. And it really showed me who empowers me and why I feel like I basically am these 5 people all rolled up into one, because essentially it's what I want to be and what I'm slowly going to become. By embodying their empowerment, I realize how closer I can get to my goals and my truest self by realizing what they accomplished to make me realize what I can accomplish soon or in the very near future. Alright, so I actually have a list of the 5 people that I wrote during this time, so please take me seriously, I hope. Anyways, here we go. So I wrote John F. Kennedy for handsome, gets along with people, and fights for what's right. And then at number 2, we got Rosa Parks, strong, black, and she just loves, she spreads so much love and empowerment for what she wants. At number 4, I got Keith Haring. We got artist. I'm not going to talk about that second reason that I listed. And his art style and influences still live on till this day. So number 4, I have PP Cocaine, who is an artist, by the way. And she's funny, she's petty, and she doesn't care. And number 5, I put Ariana Grande because she is powerful. She is a great singer, and she is stylish. And I really look up to these people. And for the context on this, it says list 3 aspects that you strive towards or admire in someone's grounded calmness and things that you would like to be more like them. So I put for number 1, fighting for what I believe in. For number 2, I want to advocate for change. I want to be a big reason why things change. And for number 3, I put strong emotional change. I'm a very empathic person, so I realize that my emotions cause a lot of my either good things or problems. So I realize that I have a lot of emotional change and a lot of emotional growing that I'll be needing to do as an adult. So yeah, I'm really glad I found this list in one of my binders so that I could tell you guys all about it. Alright guys, so we are rounding off to the very end of the video, and I am just going to end it here by saying, don't keep letting life pass you. If anything, you're in control of your own life. Stop sitting around and thinking, oh yeah, I could do this eventually, or oh yeah, this is going to happen, when you can just do those things and accomplish those things. Now, I'm gonna let that quote sit for itself. You guys watch the rounding end of the video, and I'll see you next time. Alright guys, so it looks like we're right at the end of this video. I wanted to show off my nails for a quick second because they're inspired by my favorite book, Stargirls, and that's all I'm gonna say. So like, comment, subscribe, and more, and peace out. Stay drippy and eat your vegetables.